You are not broken. The system is broken. The one in which your brain is trying to survive while marketing, banks, and algorithms have long been playing against you. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, I earn a normal amount, so where does my money even go? That's not a coincidence. It's a predictable outcome. You live in a world where every app, every banner, and even the way you swipe your card is designed to make you spend slightly more than you planned. In this video, you'll see how specific psychological mechanisms, from fear of loss to dopamine-driven habits, influence your decisions in stores, in delivery apps, and online. If you want to finally understand why "I was just browsing" consistently ends with a negative balance, how financial psychology works, and how to use it to your advantage, leave a like and subscribe so we can create more videos like this. And let's begin. A fact that's unpleasant but true. Most financial problems today are not about math. They're about the brain. You may know what a budget, interest rates, and an emergency fund are, but in the moment you press Buy Now, it's not logic that decides. It's an automatic reaction. Data from recent years show that Gen Z in the US experiences the highest level of financial anxiety of all generations, from fear of debt to the feeling that life is simply too expensive to manage without stress. At the same time, brands, buy now, pay later services, and payment platforms are testing thousands of variations of texts, button colors, and promotions so that your impulsive side beats your rational one. As a result, we get something absurd. There is more information about financial literacy than ever, yet people's money behavior often looks worse than that of their parents' generation. The reason is simple. Traditional advice ignores the fact that spending decisions are made in an emotionally charged, tired, overloaded brain, not in a perfect vacuum. To understand why this happens, you need to start not from the question, how should I spend correctly, but from, why do I even spend the way I spend? Let's break down what this means in real numbers. Here's the study that changed our understanding of money. In 1979, Richard Thaler began a series of experiments at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He divided people into two groups. Group A received real money, cash. Group B received credit cards. The task was simple: buy a lunch at an auction. The results were shocking. People with cash spent an average of $10. People with credit cards spent an average of $20. This isn't a coincidence. It's not because the people with credit cards were wealthier. It's because a credit card breaks the emotional connection between spending and loss. When you spend cash, you physically see the money leaving your hand. That activates the insula, the part of the brain that processes pain and loss. Just like when you feel the pain of a direct hit. But when you use a credit card, that physical sense of loss disappears. You don't see the money leaving. You just tap or swipe a card a couple of times and voila, the product is yours. Your brain doesn't register it as a loss. It registers it as a reward. Because isn't that exactly what credit card companies want? They don't want you thinking about money. They want you thinking about pleasure. Here's the breakdown. Cash activates the insula, the pain region, creates a real feeling of loss. Credit card, no physical loss. The brain doesn't recognize the deficit. Result, people spend 2 times more with credit cards compared to cash. And what's even more ironic? This is intentionally designed that way. Credit card companies know about this effect, and they use it to extract more money from you. According to the Federal Reserve Board, the average American household has $11,000 in credit card debt. 52% of Americans carry credit card debt they can't pay off in a month. Those who do carry it pay over $20,000 a year just in interest. This isn't just about what you buy, it's about how you pay. And now, here comes the real psychological bomb. Make this a daily decision. Imagine I offer you 2 options. Option 1. I give you $100 guaranteed. Option 2. I flip a coin. If it lands on heads, you get $200. If it lands on tails, you get $0. Mathematically, both options have the same expected value, $100. But what would you choose? Studies show that most people choose option 1. This isn't about millions. It's about how your brain processes losses compared to gains. Here's the fundamental truth. We fear losses 2 to 3 times more than we enjoy gains. This is called loss aversion, one of the most powerful cognitive biases driving human behavior. This is an evolutionary adaptation. Thousands of years ago, when humans were hunter-gatherers, a loss could mean death. That's why your brain developed a heightened sensitivity to losses. Now, let's see how this affects spending. You see an ad on Instagram. Hot wardrobe ideas at 30% off, only today! Your brain doesn't read this as, this dress is an opportunity I could own. Your brain reads it as, I will lose this opportunity if I don't buy now. This combination of loss aversion plus scarcity activates the same region in your brain as physical danger. That's why you buy, not because you need the dress, but because you're avoiding a loss. And here's where it gets really sneaky. Marketers know this. They design campaigns specifically to trigger loss aversion. Words they use: only today, only 3 left, almost sold out. Others won't get this. This isn't a coincidence. It's psychological manipulation. And it works because it plays on evolutionary fears that no amount of willpower can overcome. According to a Harvard Business School study, ads with limited time increased conversion rates by 226%. Ads with limited stock increased conversion rates by 180%. These aren't small numbers. This is an exponential boost straight from loss aversion. Because your brain doesn't care if the product is really limited. Your brain just needs to believe it's limited. Here's a little experiment for you. Imagine you're in a clothing store. You see a coat. Original price, $250. Discounted price, $85. Now, what's the fair price for this coat? Most people say around $85 to $100. It looks like an amazing deal. But here's the question. What's the fair price without the first tag? If I just show you the coat with no price, most people value it at $120 to $150. What's the difference? The first number you see, $250, anchors your mind. With all subsequent estimates, you subconsciously compare to this anchor. $250 becomes your reference point. Now $85 looks like a massive saving. This research was done by Daniel Kahneman, one of the founders of behavioral economics. He found that anchors influence judgments even when people know the anchor is random. In his study, Group A was shown a board with the number 10, then asked, how many African countries are in the UN? Group B was shown a board with the number 65, then asked the same question. Group A answered on average 25 countries. Wrong. Actual number is about 54. Group B answered on average 45 countries. Closer to correct. Both groups knew that the number on the board was random, yet it still influenced their estimates. Now let's see how this is used in marketing. Example 1. Amazon. You see a book. Original price, $29.99. Amazon price, $9.99. Anchor, $29.99. You feel like you're saving $20. You buy it. But really? Amazon often sets the original price much higher than the typical market price. The anchor is manipulated. Example 2. Restaurants. Menus aren't random. Restaurants intentionally place expensive dishes at the top to anchor your perception. When you see a $45 dish first, suddenly an $18 dish looks reasonable. Example 3. Retail. You see, originally, $399. Now, $199. Anchor, $399. You don't know if the product ever really cost $399, but your brain doesn't care. The anchor is activated. You buy. According to MIT research, anchors influence estimates in 40 to 60% of cases, even when people are aware of the effect. People are willing to pay 2 times more for a product if the anchor is set high. This means that even if you're reading this right now, you're still susceptible to it. It's not a matter of intellect, it's brain physiology. Here's a scenario I'm sure you've experienced. A day when everything goes wrong. You get rejected by someone you care about. Your boss yells at you. You get a bad test result. And then you do this. You consciously go online, look for something you don't need, and buy it. Not because you need the item, but because it makes you feel better. This is called emotional spending, and research shows it's one of the strongest drivers of spending. According to a 2025 study by the Psychological Association, 75% of Americans spend because of stress. 54% of purchases are made based on emotions rather than rational decisions. 48% make at least one purchase a month that they later regret. These aren't small numbers. This is the majority of people. Let's start with neurochemistry. When you feel a negative emotion, sadness, anger, fear, your brain releases a stress hormone called cortisol. Cortisol activates the part of the brain that seeks positive stimuli to neutralize this discomfort. Buying activates your brain's reward system, releasing dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that tells your brain, you just did something good. Now you have a chemical neutralization of your stress. Buying becomes therapy. Maria, 24, college graduate with debt. I didn't understand why I always bought something after a heated argument with my mom, but when I learned about this effect, I realized it was self-medicating stress. I paid with my debit card because it was instant. I didn't have to think about it. I just bought and got the dopamine. Here's the problem. This effect is short-lived. Dopamine gives you 20 to 30 minutes of relief. Then, when the effect wears off, you're left with the same emotional problems, plus increased depression from worrying about your spending. Now you have the original emotion plus guilt about spending, so you buy again. This is called the emotional spending spiral, and it's one reason why 32% of Gen Z have debts they can't pay off. According to a 2025 Afterpay survey, 63% of Gen Z felt icky about credit cards due to fear of debt. 47% reported uncontrollable anxiety about money. 39% were extremely worried about making the wrong financial decisions. It's not because they're unintelligent, it's because their brains push them to spend and then they feel worse about it. That's why you buy something just because your friend bought it. It's not a coincidence. This is called social proof and FOMO, fear of missing out. Let's start with social proof. Social proof is the tendency to do something because many other people are doing it. It's an evolutionary adaptation. Thousands of years ago, if the whole clan ate a berry, it was safe. If they avoided it, it was probably poisonous. Now, in the 21st century, it still works in your brain, but instead of berries, it's products. According to Shopify research, 79% of consumers trust online reviews like personal recommendations. Products with greater than 4.5 rating have 5 times higher conversion rates than products with no reviews. 70% of people read reviews before purchasing. This means that if you see a product with 2,000 5-star reviews, your brain says, everyone bought this, it must be good. You're not evaluating the product yourself, you're just following the crowd. Now add FOMO into the mix. FOMO is triggered when you think you're missing out on what others have. Example 1. TikTok trends. A new trend spreads. Everyone is buying this specific product. You think, I don't have this. I'll stand out. You buy. Maybe you don't even want it, but you want to feel part of the group. Example 2. Limited edition. A brand releases a limited edition item, only 500 available. Suddenly, you feel time pressure. If you don't buy now, it'll sell out and you'll be the only one without it. FOMO kicks in. You buy. Example 3. Influencer recommendation. Your favorite TikToker wears this brand. All her followers buy it. You think, if she wears it, it must be good. You buy. According to the Journal of Retailing, 72% of young people are influenced by social proof when making purchasing decisions. FOMO activates within the first 3 seconds of seeing a limited offer. People presented with limited offers increase conversion rates by 226%. This means you're not just making a choice, you're being programmed to make that choice. Here's a psychological trap that keeps millions of people in a debt spiral. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, one of the most dangerous cognitive biases. Let's start with an example. You buy a gym membership for $200 per month. You go once. You don't want to go. You don't enjoy it. It's far from your home, but you keep paying. Why? Because you think, I already spent $200. I need to go to get my money's worth. This is called the sunk cost fallacy. It's the tendency to make decisions based on past costs, even when those costs have no relevance to your current decision. Here's the mathematical truth. The money you already spent is gone. It will not return. So it shouldn't influence your current decisions. The rational decision. If you don't enjoy the gym now, stop going. Don't pay any more. But your brain doesn't work rationally. Your brain says, you already spent $200. If you stop going, you'll lose that $200. Your brain determines, losing past money feels worse than losing future money. According to MIT research, 65% of people continued making choices they didn't want to just because they had already invested resources. On average, people spend an extra $1,200 per year on subscriptions they don't use due to the sunk cost fallacy. Jessica, 26, marketer, I had 3 streaming subscriptions I didn't use: Netflix, Hulu, Disney+. I was paying $45 per month. Why didn't I cancel them? Because I thought, I already subscribed. I should use it. Over 2 years, I spent $1,080 on 3 services I watched only 3 times. When I realized this was the sunk cost fallacy, I canceled everything. This happens to millions of people. They keep clothes they don't wear, pay for clubs they don't attend, stay in relationships they don't want. All because their brains are trying to justify past spending. We've already talked about how credit cards make you spend more, but let's dive deeper. Here's why credit card companies designed the system this way. When Visa was developed, it faced a problem: how to make people spend more money. It couldn't just tell people to spend more. People naturally want control over their money. So they did something genius. They masked the spending. Instead of physically handing over cash, Visa created an abstract process. Walk to the cashier, swipe the card, choose receipt, sign, done. No physical loss, no sense of pain. Result? People spend more without realizing how much. Now add digital payment. Buy with Apple Pay. All you do is lift your phone. Done. Spent. No receipt, no signature, no time to think. According to the Journal of Consumer Psychology, people using a physical payment method spend 23% less than people using digital payment. People who receive real-time spending notifications spend 17% less. People without constant balance notifications spend 31% more. This means that besides spending more, you also don't know how much you spent. It's genius design to extract money from you. Now that you understand the psychology, let's talk about how to fix it. This isn't about willpower. Willpower isn't enough when your brain is programmed against you. It's about changing your environment to change yourself. Solution 1. Go back to cash for major expenses. Remember the MIT study? People spend 2 times less with cash than with credit cards. Do this. Get cash every Monday. Divide it into envelopes: groceries, entertainment, outings. When the envelope is empty, you stop. This puts the control of choice back in your hands. Cash makes spending tangible. Solution 2. Introduce a 30-day cooling-off list. When you want to buy something, write it on a list. Wait 30 days. If you still want it after 30 days, buy it. This interrupts FOMO and the emotional spending loop. In 30 days, the dopamine from wanting it fades. You have time to think rationally. You'll be surprised how many items you cancel. Stats: 80% of items on a 30-day list are never purchased. Solution 3. Get push notifications for every payment. Set your bank to send real-time alerts for every purchase. When you see $45 spent on Amazon, your brain activates. You become aware of the expense almost immediately. This prevents the "I didn't realize I spent so much" state. Solution 4. Set up automatic savings before spending. Instead of saving what's left after spending, save first. Your paycheck comes in. $2,500. $250 automatically saved 10%. You have $2,250 left to spend. This is called paying yourself first. Your brain gradually adapts to a smaller spending amount, and you don't feel deprived. According to Wharton School research, people who save automatically increase savings by 50% over 6 months. Solution 5. Set up an accountability partner. Find one person to report big purchases to. Not a 30-minute conversation, just a text. I bought XX for YY dollars. Done. This triggers social accountability. Your brain says, if I buy this expensive item, I have to tell someone I respect about it. This creates enough friction to cancel some impulsive purchases. Stats. People with an accountability partner spend 22% less than those without. In summary, cash for major expenses, 30-day cooling off list, push notifications for payments, automatic savings, accountability partner. These 5 steps aren't revolutionary, but they change your environment so your brain can't easily justify bad spending.
Let's wrap this up. Over the last 40 minutes, we've uncovered how your brain is being used against you. Credit card illusion hides the pain of spending. Loss aversion makes you buy under time pressure. Anchoring effect makes you accept unfair prices as fair. Emotional spending gives short-term comfort for your pain. Social proof and FOMO makes you follow the crowd. Sunk cost fallacy keeps you trapped in a debt spiral. This is not weakness, it's psychology. But now that you understand these mechanisms, you have the power to change them. Start with one thing. Don't try all 5 solutions at once. Choose the one that resonates most with you. Maybe it's the 30-day cooling off list. Maybe it's cash. Maybe it's an accountability partner. Start there. Add a second solution after a month. In 3 months, you'll have a system that works. Your brain won't stop you from spending, but your environment can. And that's where the power of change lies. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you understand why you spend and how you spend, subscribe for more philosophical and psychological insights. I post new videos every week. And if you have questions about these concepts, leave them in the comments. I'll read every message. Thank you.